Even in the most successful grazing operations, there's still times that hay needs fed. So there are three main ways to feed hay. One, in a bale ring, the most conventional way. Two, bale grazing, or three, bale unrolling. So one of the more conventional ways to feed hay at winter time throughout the year is in a bale ring. So there are many different styles of rings that can be used. The probably most efficient way to feed hay in a ring is some type of a cone or funnel style that has sheeting at the bottom. And what that sheeting does is it helps hold the hay in. And a lot of the cone or funnel style hay feeding troughs allows the cows to eat but then drop it down still into that sheeted part of the ring. So this is a great example of that style of ring. And obviously the more durable and heavy duty they are, the longer they will last you. Bale grazing is another unique way to feed your hay during the winter months when you're out of stockpile pasture. So ways that you can bale graze, or the common practices, are taking your bales and setting them on end in a checkerboard formation across your hay feeding area. And a lot of times we're doing a bale grazing in a portion of your farm that may need a little boost in nutrients or extra seed added or organic matter. So that's what we'll kind of focus on when we do these bale grazing practices. So when your bales are on end, you'll stack them in a checkerboard formation on your farm, and then you will take your polywire and section off how many bales are allotted to the cow herd that particular day. So say you need 3 bales each day, you'll just let those cows into those 3 bales each day. And when you're moving cows in, you can also cut the net wrapping off at that point too, since they're set on end. And that'll help protect the bale a little longer through the winter season. Placing the bales in a bale grazing situation in a staggered or checkerboard pattern allows for a good even distribution of not only the hay that adds the organic matter to the soil, but also the urine and the manure, and getting that good distribution across the whole ground. So you can kind of play with the bales a little bit to know that you're not overlapping any hay from each bale. So general rule is somewhere around 50-foot or 100-foot spacings between bales. So bale unrolling is probably one of the more popular practices of feeding hay out on pasture, and my preferred method. So how this works is you have a tractor or a bale unroller you can pull with a four-wheeler or side-by-side, or some type of equipment that you can just simply unroll the bale across the pasture. Again, you want to focus on areas of your farm that needs a little bit of a boost in nutrient management or seeds or organic matter on that soil. So a lot of times hillsides works very well for this situation. One, they're easy to roll down, and a lot of times the hillsides are problem areas on pasture ground. By unrolling the hay, you have a natural feed line there for the cows to spread out and eat comfortably. So one disadvantage or argument against unrolling hay is that they will tend to bed down in those hay areas, and you quote-unquote lose some hay to bedding or manure. But that is also going into the soil and feeding the soil biology and building up that carbon and organic matter in your soils. So what can maybe look like a negative visually, it is a benefit for the soil biology underneath. So here we have one example of several that we can use to unroll our hay across the pastures. So this is a hitch type option that you can hook to a four-wheeler, side-by-side, or even a pickup truck. If you don't have a tractor, this is a great option. So what you do, just hook it up on a 2-inch ball, and then you simply pull these rods out on each side, back into your bale, then push these into the most center of the bale, and that locks it in. And once that bale is locked in, then you'll come up here to the tongue and use the crank to lift the bale off the ground and then travel to your destination. Once you get to your destination, go to the bale and cut all the net wrapping or twine off the bale, then simply lower the bale down until it touches the ground and then drive forward, and then that bale will unroll as you go. And the neat thing about the spikes is when the bale's all the way unrolled, then the bale is off and no need to move the spikes in or out again. So another option to feed hay and move hay around is a bale bed on your pickup truck. These are really popular out west, not necessarily here in the state of Illinois, but a very handy tool to use, especially if you're trying to move hay farther distances or have several groups of cattle to tend to in a day. You can drive a truck a lot faster than a tractor. So how this bale bed works is when it's in its natural state without any hay, these arms back here are going to lay flat against the bed and be out of the way, and you about don't know they're there. But then when you go to back up to your stack of hay, with a remote inside the truck, these arms are driven hydraulically, you'll lay them back as they are now, and then they will open up and you will back into the bale and then stick these spikes into the side of the bale. And then once that's in the side, directly in the middle, these arms will go all the way forward and then put your bale right up against the cab of your truck. And if you have a long enough bed, you can actually put 2 bales on your truck. Usually don't ever see more than 2 bales being put on a bed. One is very common. So anyway, you can haul 2 bales at a time and then use your hydraulic arms to set the bales down, to unroll them, or feed them however you need.